Let's be honest here. We've all jumped off of our bed screaming, "It's morphin' time!" at one point and used our imaginary morphers, flailing our arms around until we had what we thought was a mix between a WWE superstar and a Super Saiyan. These are the byproduct effects of a generational defining power fantasy. This is the effect of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! You Mighty Morphin Power Rangers!
I, just like a lot of people you know, grew up as a huge Power Rangers fan, watching epic backflips and somersaults combined with an endless barrage of battle screams. The key factor that differentiates all the Power Ranger fans, though, is the era of Power Rangers you watched. See, the ownership of the Power Rangers has shifted hands a couple times. Initially, the Power Rangers was owned by Fox, who was responsible for a lot of the classic moments that you're probably familiar with in the arrival of the original Green Power Ranger. But in 2001, there was an event that marked the beginning of an evolution for the series going forward. The mouse came knocking. Yes, that's right. Disney purchased Fox Family Corporation, which included Fox Kids, and in addition, the Power Rangers. And later on, Saban came back to take on the Power Rangers legacy and continue to do their own stuff with Nick, but we're here to talk about the Disney era. In the wake of the Disney merger, though, the future seasons would be spread to different networks such as Primetime on Jetix and reruns broadcast on Toon Disney. If the first two weren't an option for you and you were in a better financial situation than most that resembled the bad guy from Gotham, you could view it with satellite television on ABC Kids every Saturday. Along with this change in ownership followed a lot of changes in the IP, ushering in a new era of Power Ranger shows that are personally my favorite, and I feel like are the most neglected seasons of Power Rangers that need more love. For the sake of time, I'm only going to be covering the trio that, in my opinion, ooze the sauce. See what I did there? Ooze the sauce? Anyway, without further ado, I present to you the Disney era of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
You're now watching The Captain.
Ninjas were definitely in high demand in the early 2000s. You saw ninjas everywhere. The big green kind with shells, the hyperactive knuckleheaded kind, and the kind you're all trying to forget about. Disney definitely sought to cash in on that popularity by bringing back the Rangers in a way that hadn't been done since the season 3 of the original Mighty Morphin show, and adding in a touch of extreme sports to the mix. Ninja Storm introduced a cast of Rangers who weren't just your regular group of teens who were chosen to be the next group of Earth's protectors, but a group of trained elite shinobi who earned their Ranger titles through training and rising to the top of their secret ninja organization hidden in the mountains. I wonder, does this sound familiar to you? We're introduced to 3 Rangers: Shane, the Red Ranger, Tori, the Blue Ranger, and Dustin, the Yellow Ranger. These 3 are initially perceived to be low-tier ninjas who are notorious for not being punctual. Again, does this sound familiar to you? Anyway, included in that was an evil ninja luchador wizard from space named Lothor, who comes back to Earth and forces the 3 to become the new Power Rangers. Ninja Storm did a few things that are integral to any good Power Ranger season. First and foremost, this season shows the Rangers in and out of the suits using a combat style and choreography that is very reminiscent to the wirework combat from Eastern Kung Fu flicks like that of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, showcasing them running on air, running on water, and even using hand signs to attack their enemies from underground. Secondly, the theme song is equally as important as any other factors. It needs to be catchy, and it has to be electrifying. Every episode, it has to get me amped up to watch the episode. Ninja Storm is the first of the openings from this era that did that personally for me. Shout out to the writer, Ian Nichols, and the composer, Jeremy Sweet. Last thing is the drip. Without a doubt, the Rangers had that moment and shit on. Even Lothor always pulled up like Rey Mysterio with the Gucci button-up blouse that he had above and the leather everywhere else. Whenever you would see the team, they'd be wearing either their dope-ass ninja-inspired Ranger outfits or their regular everyday clothes, dressing like surfers, skaters, or any other person that plays extreme sports from that era of the early 2000s. And if they weren't wearing any of those 2 things, they'd be wearing their cold-ass, clean-ass gis that were like leather-inspired. I swear to God, when I was growing up, I wanted those so bad to wear. Honestly, if somebody could make them now and I could find out where they are now, I would low-key buy a pair just for me to wear here, maybe wear around cons, because they look that sick to me. Speaking of Rangers with drip, the last thing I forgot to mention that possibly may be the most important factor to a successful Power Rangers season is something that made the original series so memorable. Tommy Oliver touching down in the Power Rangers series was a monumental moment that all OG fans remember. His arrival established his strength and just pure aura. He shows up and fights the Red Ranger Jason to a standstill outside of the suits, then proceeds to get both Kimberly and Trini falling over him purely based on the fact that he's him. Not long after his biggest feat was made, he became the evil Green Ranger and totally demolished the entire Ranger team solo, kicking them out of their own Megazord in the process. Although there's a lot more to say about Tommy, I'll save that for a future video. I wanted to focus on the reoccurring trend that Tommy created in the original series that continued for damn near every single season and future series going forward: the introduction of the DLC Rangers. DLC Rangers are Rangers who appear during the runtime of a show and are essentially the new shiny toy that are new, unique color, different from the original colors of the original Rangers, and have unique suits and weapons that make them cool as fuck. They can be totally new characters, or in some cases, characters who are already around but didn't really get a chance to shine like that, and then now they're miraculously changing the Rangers to prove how truly capable they really are as individuals. In the case of Ninja Storm, there are 3 Rangers who fit the billing and pull a lot of inspiration from that of the appearance from the original Green Ranger, Tommy Oliver, 2 of which who are usually fan favorites of people who watch the show. The Thunder Rangers, Blake and Hunter, were ninja from a different village whose parents were murdered by the space luchador main villain of the show, Lothor. Like a proper villain, he convinces the Thunder Brothers that the Wind Ranger Sensei was the one who killed their parents. They then go through this arc where they proceed to just watch the current Rangers with the school's signature weapons and techniques that they brought in the Thunder Academy. They then leave the show after finding out what really happened to their parents and essentially go through this thing where they run the evil arc back one more time for good measure. And after that, they officially come back as part of the main Power Rangers team. If the resemblances to Tommy and how they operated wasn't enough for them just being evil Rangers coming in, Blake even gets the Blue Ranger Tori, the Dolphin Ranger, to kind of fawn over him, and they have this weird little flirty relationship throughout the rest of the show, and it's pretty much hinted at that they have a romantic relationship going on even past the show at the end. Although the Thunder Brothers were great additions to the Ninja Storm team, there is one final addition to the squad that has a very different style than the ninja that you're probably used to seeing thus far. Him had been around for most of the show as the IT assistance guy for the Rangers and the son of the Wind Ranger Sensei. I know what you're thinking, Captain, if he's the son of the master, why didn't he ever train to become a Wind Ninja like the others? Well, I'm glad you asked. See, Cam is different from the others. Cam was apparently forbidden by his overprotective ass father from becoming a Ranger, which I'm assuming was a promise that he made to Cam's mother. At some point, they kind of like hinted that, but they never say it outright. This promise eventually had to be broken because all the Rangers had their abilities stolen and they needed some backup. We then get to watch our hero go on this like 3-episode arc to find a secret power of the Samurai. After a little time travel and meeting his mother, Kim obtains the power of becoming the new addition of the team, the Green Ranger. But not just the Green Ranger, the Green Samurai Ranger. He, beyond without a shadow of a doubt, has the best looking Ranger suit in my opinion. The Samurai armor suit that he has an ability where he can go into what's called, I guess, assault mode, where he essentially just like taps a button on his waist and this gold shoulder plated Samurai armor that he has on in the normal mode like drops off and he gets a little bit quicker and stronger, and he flips his helmet, his like Power Ranger helmet, 180 degrees, and he has a cooler design on the front. It's one of the most badass things I've ever seen, because when he drops it to, the armor he has like drops to the ground and like cracks, which to me is very reminiscent to like Goku's training clothes from Dragon Ball, where he takes off his weighted clothes and it like cracks the concrete on the arena. So you can tell that this show was very anime inspired for what the time when it was going on. This era of Disney Rangers, in my opinion, was Power Rangers at its peak. It took everything from the prior generations and just added a little bit more sauce. Better fight choreography, better suit designs, and just a better effort at giving all their Rangers individual story arcs of development. This obviously isn't the mass opinion, and I honestly know that there's gonna be a lot of people that disagree with this opinion, and Mighty Morphin may be your favorite, and that's perfectly okay. It definitely had its moments. I personally went back to rewatch the first few seasons just to make sure I had a fresh take take in my mind, and I wasn't just going off of pure nostalgia. And to be honest, anything before the arrival of Tommy Oliver was really kind of with the show. And even once Tommy arrived, it became the Tommy show. He was the leader, and everything was kind of based around him, and he had a lot of the shine, really, and a lot of the coolness factor of the other Rangers kind of got washed out, in my opinion. Whether he was a Green Ranger or the White Ranger, he was dope. Never gonna not say Tommy Oliver wasn't dope and his two Rangers weren't dope, but again, I feel like the rest of the cast is kind of lackluster after he got there, and a lot of the story just wasn't centered around him anymore. With Disney, again, a lot of the stuff that they were doing in their series going forward was really character based. All the DLC Rangers and all the original Rangers had their own arcs that were capped off with like literal visible growth as far as either getting a new weapon, a new form, a new technique. Granted, I'm not sitting here boasting and saying that any of the writing for Power Rangers was just this perfect Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon level writing, but for its time and for its audience being children, I think that this writing was very, very ahead of its time. And with a lot of the Disney shows, if you enjoy goofy, fun stuff like myself, you can go back as an adult and watch that stuff and it still hold up. It doesn't all seem extremely goofy either, because at some points in the show, it gets really dark. And the way they write these characters is just really dope to me, and it speaks to me a certain way. And I just feel like this era of Power Rangers gets neglected a lot in the conversation of Power Rangers. Usually when I hear people talk about Power Rangers, especially me hanging around a lot of older heads and a lot of older people, is always immediately the Power Rangers. And when they talk about the Power Rangers, what's the first thing they talk about, and the probably only thing they talk about, usually Tommy Oliver and the Green Ranger and how he arrived and kicked all the other Rangers' asses and kicked them out the Megazord. With this era, there's a lot of stuff between Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, Jungle Fury, SPD, a lot of different characters, a lot of different techniques and things that you can point to that were just like, what? And because I'm a man of science, I'm going to take my time to cover 2 other seasons of the Power Rangers in that Disney era, just to kind of further my hypothesis and my opinion of this era being the best era. Because it wasn't just this Ninja Storm season that I felt like was the thing that changed everything for the better. I think it started in doing so, but I honestly feel like there are a couple other seasons in that era that took what Ninja Storm started as far as the evolution and the innovation for Power Rangers and took it to another stratosphere in regards to what they were doing. If you want to see what else I have in store, let me know in the comments below. If you absolutely hate my opinions and think they're trash, also let me know in the comments below. I appreciate the negative engagement as well as the positive. Any honest critique about my opinions, how I covered the show, or just your favorite Power Rangers season altogether. Anyway, like I said, I'm expecting a lot of people to just be so taken back by my thoughts on the season. But again, if you are open-minded and you're down to watch some Power Rangers and you haven't seen this era, please go back and do yourself a favorite, watch this era, especially if you're a big Power Rangers fan, because they did some dope stuff here. Again, I am Captain Diesel, and you are in Captain Diesel's Dojo. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And again, if my catalog here is just too small for you at this point, feel free to go over to my podcast on YouTube as well, at the Then and Now Podcast, where myself and my co-host Alush V and Professor E King of the Comics have over a 2-year catalog of different interviews, videos, and just dope stuff and conversations with other people that we find dope. It's just 3 black nerds from 3 different generations giving our perspective on things from the generational age gap that we have. Again, this has been Captain Diesel, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Peace.